Al-Isra-Al-Miraj. Glory be to the one who took his servant Muhammad by the night from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque, whose surroundings we have blessed, so that we may show him some of our signs. Indeed, he alone is the all-hearing and all-seeing.
Assalamu alaikum, dear children. Do you know the story of Al-Isra-Al-Miraj? Let me tell you the story. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, was facing hardship and pain from his tribe Quraysh, who were constantly humiliating him and his followers by torturing, boycotting, and the enticed rejection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's message in the most cruel way. Moreover, the loss of his beloved wife Khadija and his uncle Abu Talib, having gone through so much grief and suffering, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was given a truly beautiful and comforting gift of Isra and Miraj from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The journey consists of two parts that took the Prophet, peace be upon him, from Mecca to Al-Aqsa mosque, known as Al-Isra, and the ascension from Al-Aqsa to the heavens, known as Al-Miraj. One night, the angel Jibreel came to Prophet, peace be upon him, and led him to a white paradise animal named Buraq. The Buraq is a very fast animal. The length of the Buraq's stride is the farthest distance its eye can see. The Prophet, peace be upon him, mounted this otherworldly creature, and they began to fly towards Jerusalem. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, reached Al-Aqsa, waiting inside were all 124,000 prophets. Jibreel led the Prophet to the front, and he led them all in prayer in this blessed space. Then he was brought 2 cups. One contained milk, another contained wine. He drank the milk. When he had finished, Jibreel alayhi salam said, "You and your nation are rightly guided." The journey's second part is when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, ascended to the heavens with Jibreel alayhi salam and met a different prophet at each of the 7 levels of heaven, and also visited hell and paradise. The prophet he met at each level of the heavens were Adam alayhi salam at first heaven, Yahya alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam at second heaven, Yusuf alayhi salam at third heaven, Idris alayhi salam at fourth heaven, Harun alayhi salam at fifth heaven, Musa alayhi salam at sixth heaven, and Ibrahim alayhi salam at seventh heaven. When he reached the highest levels in heavens, he was brought into the divine presence of the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alone at Sidratul Muntaha, throne of God, a boundary beyond which no one may pass, it is said that the boundary has never been passed by anyone except by Muhammad, peace be upon him. Here Allah gave his Ummah the gift of daily salah. Finally, the Prophet, peace be upon him, was taken back down to Al-Aqsa and returned to Mecca. On his return home to Mecca, he saw various caravans heading towards Mecca, which he would later describe the Quraysh as proof that he had made this journey in less than a night. The next morning, the Prophet, peace be upon him, told the Quraysh what happened, but they didn't believe him. Those who had seen Masjid al-Aqsa came to the Prophet and asked to describe Masjid al-Aqsa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought the view of Al-Aqsa in front of Prophet's eyes, and he gave the correct description of Al-Aqsa. And the caravans he had seen on the way back to Mecca convinced them that he was telling the truth. They said, "By Allah, you perfectly and correctly described it." Nevertheless, then, they still did not become believers. The companions, however, never doubted this event, but they were amazed by this and wanted the Prophet, peace be upon him, to explain. But it was Abu Bakr who came forward and said, "You speak the truth. I testify you being Allah's apostle." The Prophet gave the title of Al-Siddiq, the righteous one, to him for his affirmation on this holy journey of Isra-Al-Miraj. So, dear children, this was the beautiful story of Isra-Al-Miraj that explains the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the miraculous spiritual and physical journey of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.